Hello, this is Academic Transfer in Focus, and my name is Gaylyn Scott. I started this series of webcasts to help folks understand all the good and interesting and creative and hard work that's going on in our academic transfer programs. So today our topic is math. I did a little looking, and math typically is described as being about quantity, structure, space, and change. And I think that also describes what's going on in the math department. So today we're going to hear from Carolyn Reed, the Department Chair of Math and Developmental Math here at ACC. So we're glad you're here today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You bet. So we're going to start with asking a little bit about yourself so folks can get to know you, a little bit about your background.
So I first came to ACC in '96 as an adjunct and working in the Learning Lab. And I kept leaving and then coming back and leaving and coming back. I worked in architecture, and I worked in high tech, and worked in kind of the education industry. And I've been back full time for 10 years now, and I've been department chair for the last 3.
Okay. So the math department is in a period of reinvention, to put it bluntly. For the uninitiated, tell us a little bit about the background. That is House Bill 2223 and the move towards co-recs in developmental ed.
So nationally there has been a movement towards co-requisite education for a few years now. And kind of along with that, we had a law, HB 2223, and what that law says, it was passed in, I think, May of last year.
2017.
Yeah,
yes.
2017. It's hard to keep the years straight. But it requires that developmental students are enrolled in co-requisite courses. And what that means is they're enrolled in the developmental course and the college level course in the same semester at the same time. And the idea is that they get the remediation in a just-in-time format, and it's based on some national data, some other states, and some successes that they've seen in getting their students through the college level course. And so it scales in the implementation. So like fall 18, this fall, we're supposed to have at least 25% of developmental students enrolled in co-requisite courses. The next year it goes up to 50%, and the following year 75%. And along with that, the funding for developmental education was cut fairly significantly. So along with the co-requisite requirement, we're getting less funding for developmental courses. So we have to kind of collapse and compress and really look at what we're doing with the developmental education.
Okay. So how did you start? Did you look at some data? What did you do to kind of begin this work?
So fortunately, we already had a group of faculty who were interested in developing a co-requisite course before this law even kind of came about. And so they were already looking and gathering data and looking at information and looking at developing a course. So we were lucky in that we kind of had a head start. And we also looked at some other schools in the state who had done this, particularly San Jacinto, had a very successful college algebra co-requisite course. So we went and talked with them. We brought them here to talk with us, and we gathered information from them on like what worked and what didn't work. And that's what we kind of used to start as our first pilot.
Okay. Give us a little more background. We used to have 3 levels of developmental math, is that right?
Yes.
Could you tell the story of a student's journey? Do most of them get through those 3 levels, or do we lose most of them? Did we in the past lose most of them?
We would lose most of them. And we didn't really, we didn't know this for a long time until we finally were able to get the data to show, what is happening to these students. So we had 3 levels. And students who started in the lowest level, it was, I can't remember off the top of my head, but single-digit percentages of them would complete a college level course in like a 3 or 4 year period. So no one was really getting out. They were getting lost, and a lot of it, it's not necessarily, we did a lot of, in math we did a lot of different innovations, and we've, our QEP was completely redesigning that bottom level course and doing some things for all of our other courses, and we're doing all sorts of things, and it wasn't really the delivery we kind of found or the content. It's more just kind of the structure of how it's all laid out. as we're looking at these students, we just lose them along the way.
Okay.
And you know, we don't know why. No one knows why. If someone knew why, we could all, you know, fix it.
Right. And for those who don't know, a QEP is a quality enhancement plan. No, we speak in jargon and, you know, acronyms, right? It's a quality enhancement plan, and under our accrediting body, the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, schools have to do a quality enhancement plan for their decennial reaffirmation of accreditation. So our QEP 5 years ago was about that low-level math. Okay. So you started with a co-rec in college algebra. What did the early results tell you?
They were a lot better than we expected. We saw the success rate in the college algebra portion. They receive a grade in both the developmental and the college algebra, was about 74%, which is much higher than just our standalone college algebra. It was very shocking.
Right.
And we're still gathering data. We scaled up larger in the spring. We had a lot of different pilots in the spring, and just like any pilot, when you first start something with a pilot with smaller numbers, your success is usually higher, and then as you scale up, it drops a little bit. But we're still in the 60% success rate, which is higher than even just entry-level college algebra, and much less, you know, if you're looking at students who would start at the elementary algebra level. The percentage of those who would complete college algebra is about 12-15% over multiple years.
Okay, so from 12 or 15% to 60%.
Yeah,
still
it's a pretty big change.
Yeah. How do your faculty feel about that? Are they enjoying this sort of co-requisite conversation and thinking differently about how we teach our students?
They are. I mean, we've definitely had some very good conversations, and you know, there are a lot of different feelings about it. We do have a large number of faculty. Like I said, we had some faculty already interested in trying it, and the more that we're seeing success and the more data that we get, I think the feeling is more positive towards trying them out. I think you know, we have a lot of people who are very excited about trying these new different types of things and new different types of courses, and so we'll see. But it has been fairly positive this last year.
That's good. Let's see, so you're kind of phasing this in. The law lets you do that, and we have, what, 4 entry-level college credit math courses, right? So tell us a little bit about the phase-in.
So we started with college algebra because we had already started on that, and then we decided that the easiest group of students would be what we call non-STEM students. So they're the students who don't need college algebra or math for business or economics. They need elementary statistics or college math, which is our kind of math for liberal arts quantitative reasoning course. And so we thought that those students, they don't need as much algebra kind of background. We felt like they would be students who we feel like we could very easily develop a co-requisite course for them. It's a little trickier when you're looking at college algebra because there's a lot to fill in the developmental side. So we started in the spring. We piloted 2 different types of co-requisites for the college math course, kind of a lower level of preparation student and then a higher level of preparation student, kind of different levels that they're coming in at. And we also tried, we expanded that college algebra co-requisite that covered 3 courses in 1 semester. It's very intense, so it's not for everyone. So we tried a different college algebra co-requisite that was higher level preparation students, and we used ALEX, which was another innovation that we had done at the Highland campus. So kind of a competency-based developmental portion that ties into the college algebra.
I see. And ALEX
curriculum.
Is a computer-mediated sort of learning.
It's a software program that is adaptive learning, and it's competency-based. So it's individualized to the student. But then we took this ALEX program that we've already been using, and we kind of aligned it with the college algebra curriculum.
So, do you have spring results? We're taping this in July, so you may not have spring results yet.
We do. We have overall, they're all, you know, they're very varying levels of success, but we're still seeing, you know, much higher success rates than students as we track them longitudinally. Like if we track them from fall to spring, taking, like say an exit level developmental course and then the college level course, we're still 3 and 4 times the success rate in the college level course.
Okay.
The percentages.
Right.
So it's been very successful, and because of that, and because of what we're seeing with the low number of students who take the traditional courses and actually complete a college level course, we're kind of accelerating our rollout and kind of phasing in of this. We're not shooting for 25% in the fall. We're going to be very close to 50%, I would say in the 40s, kind of depending on what happens.
And that's percentage of students, is that
yes,
right?
I'm sorry, yes, percentage of students.
Okay, who are in
Talking
a
in jargon.
co-rec setting.
Yes, the percentage of developmental students who
Right.
are in a co-requisite course.
Okay.
And so in the fall, we are piloting 2 different elementary statistics co-requisite courses, in addition to scaling up our other the college math and the college algebra, the 2 different versions.
Okay. So how do you keep all these pilots straight? That's a lot to stay on top of.
It's very hard. Well, luckily we have a lot of really wonderful people in our department, and what we've done for this is we have last year it was kind of all hands on deck. So it's like we're gonna have to make some really fast, quick, very big changes. And so we had committees for all of these different changes that we're making. And every full-time faculty person, this kind of goes into what we're going to talk about next, but every full-time faculty person had to be on one of these committees.
Right.
And we had committee chairs, so I had people who were kind of heading each of these different types of co-requisites and some other things we were looking at.
Right.
And we also have instructional associates who are adjunct faculty who are also, working with the department, and we had them work on the various development of the co-recs as well.
Right.
And then we brought in some, we wanted some more adjunct input in this, so we had some temporary full-time faculty who are adjuncts who were offered a 1-year full-time appointment, and each one of we had, I think, 6 of them, and each one was assigned to a different type of co-requisite, and to help us kind of bring in all of the different perspectives.
Right. So you're trying to be as inclusive as possible.
Yeah, so trying to be inclusive. We're trying to be, talk a lot about it. We have a lot of presentations and discussions at department meetings.
Right.
And I think the key has been having, the people who are heading each of these pilots and co-requisites who are really great. So I don't have to keep track of it all.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about quantity, right? You're scaling up to 50%, and the changes. Structure, you're having to reinvent the schedule a little bit, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. A lot,
yes, as
actually.
everyone, if anyone's looked at the schedule, you're kind of looking at it going, what is going on here? It's very complicated. We basically had to completely gut the schedule for the fall, just with a clean slate, and then try to pack everything in, because these courses have different, some meet 4 or 5 days a week, some may meet 2 days a week, but they meet for a longer chunk of time, so it doesn't go with the traditional kind of class scheduling.
Yes.
So that's been complicated. And
that was mostly your headache, right?
Yeah. It was Jill Watterson, who, and another piece of this with the co-requisites that's very complicated that a lot of schools across the state are dealing with is how, there's very different eligibility requirements for faculty to teach college level math and developmental math.
Right.
And so there's a concern about, how are we going to how are we going to staff these courses? So when we're trying to develop the structures of these different courses, and we're trying a lot of different things, we're keeping in mind the structures where we could, possibly have a different person teaching the developmental part and a different person teaching the college level part, or different ways that we can have
qualified and capable faculty.
And use all of our faculty, our adjuncts. We have a lot of really wonderful adjuncts, and we don't want to lose them. So we're really keeping in mind trying to create structures to where we can staff everything and keep everyone employed. And I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right.
I was going to talk about something else. In addition to the college level co-requisites, another thing we're doing, just as a side note, as part of the reduction in funding, that lowest level developmental math course is no longer funded by the state.
Right.
So we've had to work on like, what do we do with those students? Because those students still need something. So we've developed kind of co-requisites at that level with a course kind of attached to a traditional developmental course, and we've been working on those as well.
So a developmental co-rec with another developmental.
Yeah, we're kind of crunching from both ends, but really trying to gather as much information as we have and trying to be mindful of the different pathways that we have.
And you have a partnership with Adult Ed as well for some of those students, right?
Yes.
Who really need more help than we can currently give them on our side.
Yeah, so sometimes students that come in at that lowest level really need some more time and some more very support. Like we call high touch and support. And so we've, it's been really exciting and fun. We've been working with adult education and partnering with them and trying to identify which students would be better served in their area.
Right.
And the good thing about adult education is it's no cost to the student, so they don't burn through their financial aid before they ever get out of developmental education, which is what we were seeing. So
yeah. And one last aspect of the partnership, the communication with student services, because it's those advisors on the front line who have to help students figure out their pathways. So you have a really intensive kind of regular communication plan, right?
So we last fall, again, another change we made last fall is we have, we call them CMCs, they're campus math contacts. And we have one at every campus, they're full-time faculty, and their focus is to communicate with student services. And we start out with advisors and counselors to really talk about all these changes, because we thought we're doing a lot of change and everyone's very confused. And so they meet with them weekly and talk with them weekly. And then also we're bringing in the learning labs and the SAS, the student accessibility services, and trying to think of all the different areas to communicate. And what we found from that is not only did we see, a better understanding from us talking, communicating with them, but we started getting a lot of very good, useful information from them of different aspects of the student experience that we don't know about or didn't think about just because we're not aware. And it's helped us to kind of design our courses to better serve the students. So it's really turned into a collaboration between us, which has been a lot better than the way it was before.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Any last thoughts, or I think we've covered it all?
I think we have.
It really is about change and about reinvention and collaboration and communication, and it's all in the service of the student, right? To help those students move forward and get where they want to be.
And I do want to say again, our department and our faculty and our adjunct faculty, I mean, we're just I've just been really impressed with what they've done in this last year. We have some very they're very innovative, they're very open to communicating, we're okay with having different ideas, and it's just been really exciting to see everyone do what we've been able to do this last year.
And some of that's a tribute to your leadership as well, right? So thank you very much.
Thanks.
My thanks to Carolyn and to all the faculty in the math department, the adjunct faculty, the full-time faculty, all the things that they're doing. It really is about the student, and we appreciate all of their hard work. And thank you for watching today. We'll see you next time.